Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. How are you? I am Chad Thibodeau. Welcome to another Monday Morning Mentor. I am caffeinated. I got my coffee in hand. See it steaming. I don't know if you can see that little steam coming up. But I am locked in and ready to go with you guys today. I want to welcome everybody inside of our night school and our launch fuel program. So glad to have you guys here. And then, of course, everybody watching us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or wherever it is you're watching this today. I want to welcome you to the program today. Hey, I want you guys to grab a pencil and a piece of paper because we're going to go fast. And what I'm going to help you guys do is I'm going to help you guys create a small event between 12 and 24 people and profit six figures in a weekend. And you can pull this off, not this weekend, but the following weekend. Okay, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So I want you guys to grab a pencil and a piece of paper. I also want you guys to let me know if you're watching, who you are, where you're watching from, and have you ever ran an event. I'd love that. And of course, if you hit the share button, that would make sure that our content gets out to as many people as possible. So I've been a coach for about 13 years. I was a pastor for 19 years before that, and simultaneously being a pastor, I was the owner of multiple companies, one called Hyphen, which was a networking company. Then I created one of the largest kids sports organizations in the state of Arizona. I did sports talk radio during that time as well. But I will tell you that nothing has profited me more money than running a small event, running a small event. The nice thing about small events, and we're going to get into why small events here in a minute, but the nice thing about small events is you are a big fish in a small pond. And Tony Robbins says all the time that proximity is power. And when you have a small event, you have your audience really, really, really close to you. In small events, I'm talking about live, in-person events, okay? Not webinars. Webinars are great. We'll talk about webinars another time, but they don't do the same thing as a small event. Okay, if you have 12 people on a webinar, you're going to make a little bit of money. You're not going to make a lot of money. You put 12 people in a room, I can show you how to make six figures in just one weekend. Okay, I'll show you how to do this. So when I talk about small events, I'm talking about live, in-person events. So what I want to do is I want to share with you a few things. So grab a pencil and piece of paper. We're going to go through this quickly, and I want to talk with you about small event, big profit. Okay, this is a program that I've now run for well over a decade. And we used to host them right here at the Cavu Castle in Gilbert, Arizona, and literally in events all around the world. But there's no better way to connect with clients, transfer knowledge, build relationships and rapport, and make high-ticket sales than being the host of a small event. So I want you to just look at those four things right now, okay? Just look at those four things. Connection with clients. How many of you would say, yes, connection with clients or prospects is an incredible way to make money? How about transferring knowledge, being paid for what you know, a great way to make money? Build relationships and rapport so you can reduce the skepticism wall, and you can increase your credibility. Fantastic way. And then, of course, make high-ticket sales at a small event. There's no better way to do that. Okay? And so when I ask you to think about why you should host a small event, well, these are four big reasons right here. You can connect with clients, transfer knowledge, build relationships and rapport, and you can make high-ticket sales. You'll also be a big fish in your little pond, and being a big fish gets you a lot of attention regardless of the size of pond you have, okay? I get in arguments with business owners all the time about the size of events. And I always say that size doesn't matter. In fact, sometimes the bigger your event, the harder it is to make sales, because as you get more people in the room, you can do less of this. Okay, you can do less connection. You can still transfer knowledge regardless how many people you have in the room, but you can connect less with clients. You can build less relationships and rapport, and then therefore you make less high-ticket sales when you have more people in the room. So I actually believe the sweet spot with making six figures is about 12 to 24. I always tell people, you put 24 people in a room, give me a $3,000 to $5,000 offer, okay, and I'm going to show you how you can turn that into six figures relatively easily, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do that. One of the reasons is because at a small event like that, you don't want to just sell a $3,000 to $5,000 offer. You can actually sell a $10,000 to $50,000 offer. I'll show you that as well, and you'll have the same amount of success. If you sell a $3,000 to $5,000 offer, then I show you how to sell $3,000 to $5,000 up front, and then get monthly recurring revenue coming in after that. Okay, but here are three significant impacts that your event will make. Okay, so here they are. So if you're trying to get your coaching business off the ground, or e-commerce business, whatever it is you're trying to do, okay, small events is where it's at. Okay, number one, it introduces people to you. I could put a period right there. It introduces people to you. And we know that people buy from people. And they buy from people that they like. And the likability factor can increase 10 to 20x live and in person. I know a lot of people who say, wow, I used to, think you were sort of a jerk. And then I got to meet you and hang out with you at this event, and man, I really like you. Yeah, that's what events do. They increase your likability factor, okay? So it introduces people to you, your business, and your brand. So that's the little triangle right there. So you, your business, your brand. And the brand also could be product. It could be service. It could be whatever the brand is. But it's sort of like a triangle right there. That's what you're trying to do, is you want people to get familiar with those. The second thing is it accelerates learning and collapses timeframes. So they say that it takes somewhere between 7 to 12 touches, okay, in order for a prospect to buy from you. 7 to 12 touches. Well, what we know is you can touch them multiple ways, like through content, blogs, podcasts, text messages, emails, webinars, all that good stuff. And it's going to take you 7 to 12 before you warm up a prospect enough before they get to the point where they're like, okay, maybe I'll think about trying this guy or trying this gal. But what we know is if you run a small event and you add so much value in this small event, mano a mano, face to face, then what can happen is your time frame can collapse. So instead of needing 7 to 12 touches, they just need a couple hours with you, with your teaching, with your training, to reduce their skepticism, to build your credibility, and you can give them aha moments along the way. And so now they're buying in the moment with you. And so it collapses time frames when that happens. And that's really the key to selling, is you want to collapse that time frame. The third thing that it does is it baptizes them into your tribe. Okay, so like when you come to a small event, Big Profit, like one of my one-day masterminds, or a 3-day or 4-day CAVU event or whatever, there's reasons why we do things right? So there's reasons why you get name tags with our logos. There's reason why all the signs have our logo on it. There's reasons why you get T-shirts. There's reason why all your soap and shampoo have our CAVU logo on it. There's reason why the notebooks, like when you come and you get a notebook like this, something nice and big and powerful. There's a reason why it's got all the stuff on it. The reason is because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to baptize you into my tribe. I'm trying to get you to the point where you're like, okay, I'm one of them. And when I can get you to say, okay, I'm one of them, now you belong. And there's a concept that says you have to belong before you believe. There's a pastor here in Phoenix, and he's a really cool guy. His name is Tommy Barnett. Actually, he's retired now, but former pastor. And Tommy Barnett, and he tells a story about when he first moved to Phoenix. He was a young guy. He was a pastor at a big church, I think in Texas somewhere. And they used to do this thing called the Living Christmas Tree. And they would do this Living Christmas Tree. Thousands of people would come to it. Lots of people would convert into Christianity because of it. And he came to Phoenix and he's like, man, I want to do this at our church. But he only had like a 30-day runway. So he called his church back in Texas and he says, hey, any way you can put that tree on a cart and send it to me, I want to do it at my church here. So they put that thing on a crate, shipped it over to him. He got that thing just a few days before they were supposed to do a show. They've already done their marketing. They've already got hundreds of people coming to this particular event, and they get the tree, and it holds about 96 people. And he's like, I don't even have 96 people in my church, for crying out loud. Like, how in the world am I supposed to do this? So he talked to this rich guy in his church who gave him 100 $100 bills. And Tommy and his staff went downtown Phoenix and found all these homeless people and said, hey, listen, I will give you $100 cash if you will come to my church on this particular day and stand in the tree. And what they was going to do is they were just going to put a choir robe on them, put them in the tree so that they were, I don't know if you know what a living tree is, but it looks like a Christmas tree, but it's really a choir stand, like where people, singers go. So he put them in a choir robe, put them in there, and just said, just stand there, look pretty, move your mouth if you want to, just don't say anything. And so he did that. And so what he said was, what was really funny is they came in and they helped him get showered, and helped him get clean, gave him a new change of clothes, fed him some pizza, gave him haircuts and shaved them, and just really made them feel like family. And he said that so many people really believed at that particular moment that they were just cared for, okay? And they were really happy about that. And they felt cared for, and because they felt cared for, they would do whatever they want. So he said that night I get up and we do the big Christmas tree, and I go give a presentation, and I gave an altar call, and he goes, like, half my tree came out and they came down to the altar and they got saved. And he tells a story, and it's hilarious, the story, but he made a comment. He said, if we would have just gone downtown Phoenix and just proselytized these people, none of them would have come to salvation. But we gave them an opportunity to belong. And because they belonged, they believed. And I've always believed that's one of the things you have to do as a leader of your tribe, is you have to get your prospects to belong before they believe. Okay, but sometimes we get so caught up in trying to make sales. Okay, we want to make money, that we just go straight to the sales cycle, and we don't think about the believing part. We want to be able to connect with them. We want to be able to baptize them into our tribe, make them one of us. Okay, I remember a small event that we were doing, mastermind we were doing down in Florida. And I want to say we had like 40, 45 people, and we rented this big mega house in Florida, and a bunch of my clients came, and lots of my prospects came to this particular thing. And we were doing a really good job of teaching and training, and I was teaching all brand new stuff, cutting edge stuff. In fact, I've got one of the guys who did $100 million through ClickFunnels was there, and he made the comment that I've been to all kinds of events. I've been to Tony Robbins events, I've been to Russell Brunson events, I've been to... who's the guy from Virgin Airlines? Can't think of his name. Branson events. I've been to some of the largest war rooms, mastermind war rooms there are in the country. Paid thousands and thousands of dollars a day. He goes, but this event, he goes, there was no better teaching, there was no better training than I've ever received at this particular event. And I thought that was really good. I love to hear that. But he said what I was most impressed with was not the teaching and the training, but the tribe you built. He goes, I think I finally found my family. And what happened at that event later on that night, all of a sudden we had a pool party break out. Wasn't planned, not on the schedule. All of a sudden, everybody's out in their bathing suits. They're out in the pool, and the music is on. And then I'll never forget a buddy of mine, Daniel Linares. Daniel was one of my clients, and really, really good guy. And all of a sudden, he's a professional DJ in Manhattan, and all of a sudden, he writes this song about me, which was crazy. And the next thing you know, like, all the people in the pool are singing this song about me and our business, Cavu, right? And they call themselves the Cavuleers, and they just felt like they belonged. And what was so interesting was nearly every prospect who was there at that event, because we helped them belong before they believe, bought my product. Right? And that's the significant thing that can happen with a small event. Okay, one of the significant things is you can baptize them into your tribe, and this belonging breeds loyalty. Okay, so who should host an event? If you have something to say or something to sell, you should consider leveraging the power of events. Okay, you should consider that. You should consider leveraging the power of events. Okay, this week, we've got 3 events for one of my clients coming up here in Arizona. We're leveraging the power of events. I'm getting on an airplane late Wednesday night, flying to Vegas. I'm going to be speaking on a stage in Las Vegas at an event. Why? Because I have something to say and I have something to sell. And because I have something to say and I have something to sell, then I'm considering leveraging that in the power of an event. I'm going to build my credibility, build my authority. I'm going to collapse the timeline. I'm going to make plenty of sales because I'm taking the risk at hosting an event. So I'm not going to get into this part of the training, the 9 events of hosting a small event, but we'll get into that another time. But I want you to consider hosting a small event. Now, what kind of event should you host? Okay, so there are 5 types of events. You'll have to listen to more of my training later on to get into the different types of events. But there are really 5 types of events that you can host. Okay, the one type of event that I'm going to recommend that you host and you host immediately is what I call the one-day mastermind. Okay, the one-day mastermind. The one-day mastermind is where you can do this in a house, you can do this at a church, you can do this at a hotel, you can do this at an Airbnb. It doesn't matter, but it's where you're going to teach the framework of something. So my iPad isn't working right now. My iPad, my iPencil, Apple Pencil decided it just doesn't want to work, and so I'm going to go old school here, and I'm going to write this on. But what I want to show you is what you should do at a one-day mastermind, okay? At a one-day mastermind. So I'm gonna draw, like, I don't know if you can see this here, but I'm just gonna draw four arrows, okay? So the first thing that you want to be able to do is you want to be able to have some kind of like belonging event, okay? You want to do something where they belong, okay? And so I always do this. So like I always start my events about 9 o'clock in the morning, doors open at 8 o'clock, and then I have what's called a power breakfast between 8 and 9 o'clock where I invite people to come. We have like some type of continental breakfast available for them with coffee and stuff. It's called a power breakfast, and what we encourage people to do is come to that particular thing, network, change cards, pitch, sell, do whatever you want during the power breakfast, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help them belong. I'm trying to help them get acquainted. Okay. Then the whole point of it is where I want to come here now after I've helped them belong. Then what I want to do is I want to have some kind of pathway. Okay. I want to teach them some kind of pathway. So like for instance, let's say that I was doing a one-day mastermind to teach you how to do events. Like, step 1 would probably be why events. Step 2 would probably be the 5 different type of events that you can do. Step number 3 would probably be crafting your pitch. Step number 4 would probably be selling from a small stage. And step number 5 would probably be closing and fulfilling, right? So those would probably be the 5 components of my one-day mastermind. And I would just create 5 sessions about an hour long. And then I would go and I would teach each and every one of those components. And what that does, when you create a pathway, then it sets up what's called a logical next step. So now the logical next step for them is to buy my small event, big profit. And so that's what you want to do. So you want to start with belonging, and then you want to create some kind of pathway, okay? Then what you want to do is you want some kind of what I call emotional or connection experience, okay? Some kind of emotional or connection experience, okay? So what you want to do is you want them to be able to feel as if you're more than just the guru. You want to be able to tap into their connection or tap into their emotion, and you want them to have an experience. So like, at my events, I'm trying to see if I've got one around. I don't see one. But at my events, we take a marker just like this, and we break boards, okay? So on one side of the board is all their limiting beliefs and fears. On the other side of the board is their future pace, what life would look like if they were done. And we literally break boards. We partner up, we share them, and we break them. And no doubt, at every one of our events, we always have 1 or 2 people that can't break it. So then I step in, I get in, I motivate them, I coach them, and we break that board together. And the whole place just freaks out. They love them, they hug them, they're crying. Why? Because we're having an emotional aha experience. And what that does is that brings synergy to the group. And now we're a team. Okay, now we're a partnership. Okay, one of the mistakes that I see a lot of people doing is they don't really do the belonging. Okay, so I see a lot of gurus that host these events, and the gurus will go to their hotel or whatever. No, you got to get out there and you got to belong with them. You have to say, hey, thank you so much for coming. Hey, we're so glad you're part of the Cavu family now, right? So make them belong. Okay, hey, have you met Susie? Hey, have you met Margaret? Hey, have you met John? Like introduce people, help them belong, get in the weeds with them. Okay, get down and dirty with them. Then teach your best stuff. Create a logical and linear pathway for them to go from one place to another. And then the logical next step is your event. Okay, and then the third thing is create some kind of emotional connection experience where you guys can be in something together, where you can help them break through limiting beliefs. So we've done board breaks, we've seen firewalks, we've walked on glass, that type of thing. We've done just open sharing. I like all sorts of things, just all different types of experiences that you can do right here to create some kind of emotion, some kind of connection, and to help people have these aha moments. Okay, and then what you need to do is then you need to create what's called the next step. Okay, the next step. Okay, so you create the next step. So when I'm creating my one-day mastermind, I'm helping them. I'm helping them belong. Okay, I'm helping them learn something, okay, from step A to step B. I'm then moving to the emotional experience, okay, and then I'm helping them create a next logical step. Now, what do you think that next logical step is? The next logical step is for them to step in and to purchase my coaching, or to get into some program, whatever it is that I'm pitching, okay? I'm helping them create a logical next step. So when you do that, then you don't really need to create a really hard, in-your-face pitch. You don't need that. I always tell the story. We were doing a small event, Big Profit, up at what we call the Scooby-Doo Castle in Arlington, Washington. And it was super fun, okay? And it was a big 25,000 square foot mansion that we were at, and people got there, they freaked out because, man, this thing was awesome. It just looked way cool, okay? And that's one of the things that I teach in small event profit events, but that's a whole other thing. It's so cool. And so people were there, they were going Facebook Live, all this FOMO, we were getting all this attention. And I go there, and I helped people belong, okay? We did a really good job with that. Then I came, and then I helped create a pathway. I taught everything about small event, big profit, and they were there, they were on it, they were convinced, they loved everything that we had. Okay, and this way. And then we did some emotional experiences. So we did Kava, which is like some type of martial arts. We did workouts together every single morning. We did board breaks. And we did sharing around the table. I did all of this stuff. But what I wasn't doing was I wasn't giving them the next step. I was just sort of going to stop, because they had all paid several $1,000s to be there. So I was just going to sort of stop right there. And so we were at the table, and one of my prospects, his name was a guy named Mark Stern. Mark is very, very good entrepreneur, very good marketer, runs a very successful multiple 6, if not 7-figure business right now. He asked me the question, are you going to pitch? Are you going to pitch? And I wasn't going to pitch. And I was like, no. I said, I don't know. I said, I don't think I am. I said, I think I've given you guys enough information. I think this has really helped you. You guys have all paid several $1,000s to be here. I think we're good. And then Mark was like, no. And then Elias Notus was like, no, we really want you to pitch. And so next thing you know, they're talking me into giving them a pitch. Okay? No joke. I got all this on video. They're talking me into giving them a pitch. Like, they're literally begging me. And really what they were asking is, okay, we got all this information. Fantastic. I love it. Woo, I'm sold. Now what? Now what do we do with it? And so then we were able to create a product. You know, we had our Cabo coaching. That's what I pitched. I was able to give them a smoke and deal. And then bam, you know, I think we had 12 people buy the $25,000 product right then and there at that particular event. We only had 20 people at the event, and 12 of them bought the $25,000 product. That's $300,000. I think it cost me $15,000 to pull off the event. I made $300,000. That's a pretty good ROI. Zero ad spend. Okay, zero ad spend. That's what you do at an event. So many of you guys need to run a one-day mastermind where you do this particular thing. Okay, so where you help them belong, you teach a pathway, you give them some kind of emotional experience, and then you walk them into your next step. That's what you need to do. So what I like to do is I like to host it. Like, I'll find, like, if I don't really have a place to do it, I'll go down to a hotel and I'll rent like one of their executive suites. It's not quite the presidential suite. That's a little too much. It's an executive suite. It's got a dining room in it. It's got a couch, couple love seats in it. It's got a kitchen in it. It looks really, really nice. Typically got some kind of nice view. Has a big TV in it. Plenty of room to host about 20, 24 people inside the living room. Costs about $400 to $500 a night. But you don't have a catering issue. So what I'll do is I'll go rent one of those, okay? Especially if I'm doing it out of town. I'll do that. So I got my room covered, plus I got my venue covered for about $500. And people really like it because it's at a presidential suite or an executive suite. It feels really high class, gives you a lot of clout. It's really nice. So then what we do is we go and we teach for the day. And I always cater in Jimmy John's. Okay, I want you to do this. Jimmy John's or Chick-fil-A. Nobody's there for the food. So don't blow your budget on food. So what I do is it's either Chick-fil-A or Jimmy John's. So I'll have a little sheet of paper with 3 options on it. So if it's Jimmy John's, do you want turkey? Do you want tuna? Do you want veggie? And they just mark that. And everybody else gets the same thing. It's a bag of chips, it's a cookie, and it's a bottle of water. That's what we do for lunch. That's it. Okay? If it's Chick-fil-A, do you want chicken sandwich or do you want a market salad? Which one? That's it. Pick it, and then I'll give it to my assistant, or I'll say, okay, guys, we're gonna get started in 10 minutes, and I'll go to the phone and I'll call in the order, whatever I got to do. That way, lunch is covered. But I go to Walmart and I get a big box of those prepackaged chips. So they're like $15 for like 44 of them. And so I'll get a box of prepackaged chips. I'll get a case of 24 to 48 bottles of water. And then I'll buy like a pack of cookies, like 12 to 24. If I'm gonna have 20 people there, then I'll get 2 of them, whatever. And then I just Uber Eats the food to me. It's really cheap. I lay out so simple. Okay, it's not about the food. Really, really, really easy. Super simple. And we put all of our energy, time, and effort into those 4 things: belonging, pathway, creating an emotional experience, and then giving them their logical next step. I go and I teach that, and at the end of the day, I sell, or I invite them to sell, or I invite them to take the next step with me, and we give them a smoke and deal for doing it right there on the spot. So typically what I do at a one-day mastermind, I'll sell a $7,200 product. Okay, $7,200 product. And then we'll give them some kind of deal, right? So what it is, it's like a $12,500 deal. We sell it for $7,200. You put 50% down, and then we'll take the next 50% over X amount of months, depending on what you want to do. So I normally do $3,600 down, 12 payments of $297, something like that. Or if they want to do the $12,500, where it's got a lot of chat, some one-on-one, they put $5,000 down and then 6 payments of $1,250. Okay, so that's just sort of what I do. I sell that all day when I do my one-day masterminds. So many of you guys are watching this today. You need to consider doing a one-day mastermind. Okay, one day. If you want some help with it, just shoot me a DM. I've got plenty of teachings and trainings I can share with you, but I'm happy to point you into the direction inside of our Launch Fuel Night School program. I've got tons of teachings, tons of trainings. We even have live coaching in there, anything that you want. So if you want some help, just let me know. But I want to encourage you guys to take a chance. It doesn't cost you a lot of money. Okay, I always people ask me, like, what do you charge for this? I typically charge $99 to $197 to come, or I'll have a $297 upgrade to a VIP. So what a $297 is, like, for $297, they get to come to the mastermind, they get to sit up front, they get swag, and then I make sure I interact with them from the stage. Okay, and then later on that night, they get to do a VIP dinner with me and anyone else who's speaking, and we spend about 2 or 3 hours together as well. And we typically get somewhere between 5 and 6 people to do that VIP. And I can tell you from experience that if they take the VIP option, the chances of them buying accelerate. It's well over an 85% close if they take the VIP. Okay, because they're spending more time with you. They're saying, man, you're worth the $300. I'd love to spend more time with you, and I'd love to pick your brain. I'd love to go to dinner with you. I like you, right? And people buy from who they like. So anyway, that's my teaching training today. Hopefully it is helpful for you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM. And once again, if you guys are inside the Night School program, I'll be right there. I can only stay for about 5 minutes, but I'll take a few questions, okay? God bless you guys. We'll see you very soon on Monday Morning Mentor.